Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome to Kenny Brown's Cars and Coffee. I'm Carrie Southworth along with co-host Brad Grissom. Brad Grissom? Brad Grissom?
Hello, everyone. So nice to see everyone today.
I
Oopsie.
guess oops, now we're going to Jim. Okay, can we start this over? Okay, we're going to start over, guys. Ready? Here we go. You need to remove Jim. Okay, okay, guys, we're going to start this over. You ready? Good morning and welcome to Cars and Coffee with Kenny Brown. I am co-host Carrie Southworth along with Brad Grissom.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
We have a great show lineup today. I hope you enjoyed that. We always like to add a little comedy with our technology, so that was hopefully the technology glitch for the day. But anyway, we have a great show today. We have, as you know, track and car show season is coming up. And who we have on the show today is Jim Donato from Donato Trailers. And he is going to present a mini masterclass similar to what we teach in the Speed Therapy Academy. And he's going to be talking about sway control today. It's a very interesting subject, and you'll learn a lot. Again, this is a Speed Therapy Academy mini masterclass, just to kind of give you a little taste of what we do in the Speed Therapy Academy. We also have a little bit of Kenny Brown memorabilia with us today. That's part of it. And we have our weekly giveaway too. So let me show you what we're giving away this week. So here is this is our track bags. It says Kenny Brown on it. This is a 19-inch bag. It's $29.95 on our website. We also have the smaller one. This is really good for your tire temperature gauge when you're going to the pit area. And it's really high durable material, and you can put things in it. They're really nice. And this one is $22.95. So a 13-inch bag, and
That's the same bag they get when they order the Trackside Toolkit. Is that correct?
yes, this is a bag that comes with the Trackside Toolkit. And Brad, why don't you tell them what's in the Trackside Toolkit?
Right. So in the Trackside Toolkit, we have a really nice Joe's Racing tire pyrometer. Which has got a really cool probe. It's kind of got a 90-degree handle probe scenario. I don't have one I can show to you right now, but we do sell them on our website. It's a digital pyrometer. It's really nice. It's designed to it's designed for more of an ergonomic type of use. So people that have used traditional tire pyrometers will appreciate this because it has a handle and the probe is kind of bent, so it's a lot easier to stick the tires than a traditional probe, which is just a one giant long probe, I guess. And then we also include a really nice high quality tire pressure gauge. There's a shot of the pyrometer, so it's nice. It's digital. It's high quality. It comes with a nice rubber outer shell that surrounds the plastic enclosure itself. So if you drop it, the probe again is super nice. Just simply runs on batteries. And then the tire pressure gauge, let's see. Yeah, there you go. So it's 0 to however many PSI. I think some of them are 60 PSI, some are 80 PSI. It does come with two different chuck styles. It comes with a pressure release valve built in. It does have a rubber housing over the gauge itself. So again, if you drop it or anything like that, it's protected. Here we go, solo layout. There you go. And so it is a 0 to 60 PSI, I think, right, Carrie?
Yeah. Yes, 0 to 60.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, that's what comes. That's not what we're giving away today. Is that we just kind of went on to that. But this is our trackside bag, and that's all that comes in it on the website, along with Kenny's tire temperature sheet. So we give away a tablet of that with it as well. So for today's,
does it come with a clipboard? It comes with a clipboard too, doesn't it?
Yes, it comes with
Okay.
a clipboard, no pen included. So you have to.
We need some Kenny Brown pens.
Yeah, we do. We do. Okay, I wanted to show you, Brad, you want to put me to full screen because I want to show how big this is. And then we'll stop talking about this. But we are so excited about these bags. But as you can see, I have Kenny's helmet in here, and there's still extra room. So you won't be able to fit your driving suit in here, but it's a good mini size helmet bag to bring to the track, I think. So
It looks
anyway,
like you could fit your gloves and your
yes.
shoes in there
Oh,
probably
definitely.
though.
Yeah, definitely gloves and shoes. So it's really nice size to bring to the track with you. So we are giving this away for a weekly sweepstakes, less Kenny's helmet. So anyway, so let's see who's with us today. So we have Jorge is with us, Fred Francher, good to see you. Joe Johnson, there's a few people. It looks like Brian West is with us as well. Jay Meyer, good to see you. He's on the road to Cleveland to Summit Racing Autorama. Oh, that sounds like fun. Let's see who else. Phil Jolly, good to see you. We're going to have Phil Jolly's car here shortly. I think it's coming at the end of April. He's doing a nice little installation on his car, getting ready for the track and street. There's a few more people on here as well. Also, I know my cousin Brian is on. I want to put a reach out to him. Hello, Brian. Good to see you. And so we'll just keep going on and on with our show. So Michael Bowman's here. Those bags will make a good Cars and Coffee detail bag as well. Oh, that's a really good idea. Yes, Cars and Coffee. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, they're really high quality. I don't know if you could see that or not. But anyway, that is our free giveaway with a trivia question today. And then I think next we're going to go into our memorabilia. We don't have a lot of memorabilia today because we are really going to be focusing on our mini masterclass today with Jim Donato. And my lovely assistant is not here. So anyway, I think you all know my lovely assistant. So anyway, what we're going to talk about is Kenny's boyhood hero was Jim Clark, or Jimmy Clark. And this is, I'm not going to take this off the wall, but this is his win in 1965 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is one of Kenny's pieces of art. This is another one of his pieces of art right here. So I don't know if you can see that. And hold it up.
Yeah,
a bit.
looks great.
Isn't it cool? There's
quite a bit of glare off of it, but
yeah, I know.
It's a great image.
Well, you can see the whole showroom and all the lights. So anyway, there we go. So that is Jimmy Clark. And I don't know, do many of you know much? What did you say, Brad?
Is that his glove too?
Yes, that's his glove as well. So that's one of our customers gave a number of these prints and to Kenny years ago, and it's in his beloved artwork collection, automotive artwork. So anyway, Jimmy Clark was Kenny's boyhood hero, and he watched him at Watkins Glen. Him and his friends, I don't think they paid for their tickets. I think they climbed up on a tree, and Jay Meyer that's his home track, so he could probably tell you a little bit more about. There's some big old oak tree there that they climbed up and watched Jimmy Clark win at Watkins Glen, and I'm not sure what year. I think that was in '66. So that's his boyhood hero, and I think part of the reason is because he's Scottish. And if you've been with our show for a while, you know that Ken has a strong Scottish heritage, along with drinking scotch. He has a great scotch collection as well. So anyway, Jimmy Clark won the championship titles in '63 and '65, and he drove for Lotus and did a great job for him. He unfortunately perished early in a crash in an F2 car in 1968. So anyway, that's Kenny's boyhood hero. Okay, let's move on to the next little bit of information that we have. I wanted to tell you, we're going to have the trivia question in just a couple of minutes, so I'll share that. I'm kind of stretching what I just talked about. So anyway, we have a lot of questions on our 15-minute calls. We do free 15-minute consults, and we have a lot of questions like, well, you know, what can I ask? What is it all about? Well, the 15-minute consult, you can call in anything. So we have a great tech staff here. Kenny did a great job training us. And so we can answer the majority of tech questions you have on your Mustangs. So we answer questions. The other thing we do, and people love this, is we create build plans. So if you don't really know where to start on your car, we create a step-by-step build plan after we talk to you. So we'll find out a little bit about what you're looking for, what your driving ambitions. Is it street car, street performance? Is it track? Are you going to eventually go race with it? As a part-time, just a couple track events a year. And we take all this information and how much experience you've had driving in the past as well. We take all that experience and information, we put it into a physical sheet that you can print out of your computer, electronic, and it's a build plan. And we do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And how many of you people that have had build plans out there know what the first few steps are? Speed Therapy Academy people should know this. Where does Kenny always start? This is not the trivia question, but it is to win the bag. But it is a good trivia question. So I think people can answer that. I will say it right now because people have probably typed it in already. Chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, brakes. That's where Kenny always starts. And then he goes into cooling, safety, and power is one of the later things that he adds. You can't get the power to the ground if your car doesn't handle well or have good traction. So anyway, Brad, before we start with Jim, I want to do a giveaway on this.
Okay, I just wanted to say hi to Wayne Jones, who's joining us from today. And we do have a Facebook user who got the 5 critical steps to building the ultimate performance car: chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, brakes. That's Facebook user. And so maybe that's Brian West.
That's
it could be.
Dude.
They're viewing on the Speed Therapy Society Facebook group page where we're streaming live today, as well as our Kenny Brown corporate Facebook page, Kenny Brown Performance. And we're also streaming live on YouTube. So if you're viewing on any of those platforms with us today live, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a heart-shaped wrench. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. And if you're viewing on the Speed Therapy Society Facebook group page, we cannot see your name. Unless you post it like Hurstfer did, who's viewing live today as well, and he is in Bulgaria. And then we have another Facebook user who's not Brian West. If Brian West is out there, I didn't see him in the chat.
Yeah, he is out there. So
yeah, I wanted to wish him. I think he had a birthday this week, so I wanted to wish him a happy birthday as well.
Oh, great. Happy birthday,
okay,
Brian.
So I got my housekeeping in like real quick there under the radar.
Snuck it in on me. Okay, so we're going to do the giveaway early today because we have a mini masterclass coming up, and
okay, but we were going to do some internet finds, and so I found all this cool stuff on the internet in my spare time. And so we may share a couple of those as well, but we'll do it at the end of the show if we are going to share them, because we want to be sure we give Jim appropriate time to get through an important topic. So anyway, Carrie, I'll go back to you.
Okay, sure. So this again is our weekly giveaway, and the trivia question is, who was Kenny's childhood racing hero? Again, who was Kenny's childhood racing hero? So that's the question. Brad, you're disqualified. You're disqualified. So, you got your Kenny Brown shirt on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see who was the first one. Joe Johnson. Boy, this will go really nice with your dark horse, don't you think? Put your helmet in there. Congratulations, Joe Johnson, for winning that. So we are going to get on to our mini masterclass. And the reason I call it mini is in the Speed Therapy Academy that we offer, we have masterclasses. We call in industry experts from all over the industry. and they come in and teach master classes and go in depth about different subjects. So today we have Jim Donato from Donato Trailers, and he is an expert, and you'll see soon, on trailers, trailer setup, and anything about trailers. So we're going to introduce him in just a moment. But I mean, you'll really like this. So at the Speed Therapy Academy master classes, this is a mini master class. He'll be sharing a lot of technical information, and he has a whole presentation set up for you. You can ask questions during his presentation, and we'll probably answer them afterwards. So get your questions ready. And I'm going to introduce Jim Donato right now. So Jim. Oh, he's not on. There we go. Hi, Jim. Good to see you today. And
Yep, good to see you guys. Thanks again for the invite, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. I've developed a long working relationship with Kenny Brown and Carrie and Brad, and you guys got the best right here. These are the best Mustang people, and just a fantastic organization. So a little shout out to you guys there, and thanks again.
Well, thank you, Jim. I so appreciate that. We try our darndest, and the only people that we have on our show are high quality vendors and suppliers of people. So Jim is one of those. So Jim, I wanted, before Brad and you start your presentation, I wanted to ask you just a couple questions, because I think some people have seen you on the show before, but I think it's good to give a little bit of background of who you are, because I know that you have such knowledge in trailers, but you don't have it just in trailers, but you also have it in race cars, loading race cars, low cars. So can you give us a little bit of background, how you started and how you got into this industry?
Yep, sure, absolutely. My family started in the car business in 1958. My father started in the AMC Rambler, American Motors dealership. We also had Fiat, Alfa, MG Triumph, all the little imports, and then Jeep. And from 1958 on, in fact, I am still in the same building, so I'm kind of like grew up as a car guy, sweeping the floors and playing in the gas, oil, and grease. And so I'm a mechanic and done all. I am a vintage racer. I race a 62 Austin Healey. I've driven Mustangs in Champ Car Series in different series. I've ran Corvettes in different series, and just all in all car guy like the rest of us. I'm sure that when I get my blood pressure checked, it's more like getting my oil pressure checked. So, like the rest of us. So, that's a little bit of background about me. Just a lifelong car guy and been in it forever. And trailer industry, I've been in for quite a few years. All my experience at going to the track has bled over into the trailer industry. So, understanding what everybody needs when they're taking their race car to the track, as I had to do with mine, helps a lot. And also in the design. My engineering background comes out a lot when I start doing too much math, but that's okay too. It all works out. And just like Kenny Brown Performance, when we do a trailer for a customer, we start with a build plan. And it's iconic that we do the same series and we look at the same thing from the ground up. So kudos to Kenny, and like I said, your guys' team. The build plan is proven and works, and even works in my industry.
Yeah,
so
and that's
our thing. So
yep, that's for sure. And our philosophies are aligned. I know that. Again, the reason we have you on. So without further ado, I'm going to have Jim and Brad start the master class. And again, this is Speed Therapy Academy mini master class with guest expert Jim Donato. So enjoy.
Okay, so everyone, as Carrie mentioned before, we do our Speed Therapy Academy program, which is phenomenal. It's a 16-week program that Kenny started several years ago, and as part of the Speed Therapy Academy, we have a whole series of master classes that go on during that 16 weeks. So not only is it an intensive learning program where we go through not only chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, and brakes, but we go through aerodynamics, we go through driver coaching, we go through drivetrain, we go through engine, we go through transmission, we go through rear end. When we do suspension, it's extremely in depth. It's 2 weeks of intensive learning. And the master classes fit in and kind of coordinate with whatever that week's curriculum is. So if we're, and one of the things we talk about is race trailers and how to set your rig up at the racetrack so that when you get there, you look a little bit more organized and professional. And these master classes are super intensive. And so what you're going to see today is just a sampling, maybe 20% of what you get when Jim does his full master class for our students. And Jim has been a really valuable asset over the course of the last 3 years as we've been doing this program. And a lot of you who are viewing today know him and have actually been through his master class. But today we wanted to talk about the subject of specifically trailer sway control. And Jim is an expert in that. He deals with those customers every day, advises them, and he's put together a great presentation. So Jim, if you want, I can go ahead and pull this up and we can get started. Does that sound good to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. We got a lot to go through in a short period of time. So
yeah. Okay. So let me just share my screen here and we'll get on to it. We've got a couple of little videos. Jim, I'll let you explain those as we get into it. Okay.
Sure. Well, the first thing, it's kind of ironic that today here in central Indiana that we have had storms and a lot of wind blowing and a lot of issues like that. So these videos that Brad's going to play just give some demonstration on some models of weight distribution in the trailer and then the effects of sway on tow vehicles and how it works. So if Brad, if you want to play the first one.
Okay, yeah.
As we all know, sway is the biggest thing that is a problem with tow trailers. And this first one here talks about some weight and how the weight of how the trailer is loaded will also affect this. Properly loaded trailers are easier to pull and easier to drive. Now, in our app, we're going to talk about the force of it and how that affects all. But this is a quick demonstration on tongue weight, which a lot of people can get confused about. We have a little bit more information coming on tongue weight, but as you can see, proper tongue weight keeps the vehicle in control. And then if you offload or have too light of tongue weight, then that creates a problem, as you see there. Now, there's several factors that will contribute to sway, but as we all know, sway is the most frightening thing when you're pulling a trailer, and it is the #1 cause of most accidents that happen. Again, as you can see through this demonstration, how fast things can get out of control. So being prepared for this is super important for everybody towing any type of trailer. And then this is a little bit of different hitches. So we'll go to the next video, which is the most favorite from the Kenny Brown Performance Team because it is a Mustang in the video pulling a trailer. And see if Brad will get that rolling. And this will talk also about how fast things can get out of control with improper tongue weight. Now, bear in mind, most all of us are using a tandem axle trailer. So the tandem axle trailer will also help with some of this because it will track a little bit better. But the same results will happen, whether it's a single axle or a tandem axle trailer. as you can see from the difference in tongue weight. Pretty cool video for everybody to see. So Brad, we'll get into the meat of this now that we all know what this looks like and feels like.
All right, here we go.
Yep. So, like I said, sway is the number one cause of accidents. And it's also the biggest reason that most people give up on pulling a trailer or get so disgruntled that they're like, I just can't do it anymore. So, a few factors contribute to it: side forces on the trailer, location and pivot point that the trailer is attached to the tow vehicle, bow wind or passing traffic, uneven roads, grooved roads like you see in construction, and then improperly loaded trailer with too little or too much tongue weight, as we can see here. So the most important thing is to have a plan, just like your build plan with your race car, is have a good plan for your trailer and towing it, and it's setting your trailer up to pull it with all of your gear in it. Because we all bring a car, tools, tires, coolers, canopies, chairs, all the stuff we drag back and forth, and it all adds to what's going in the trailer. So we'll flip to the next one, Brad. This is a little thing on the force of wind, because wind is our single biggest contributor. So a 20-foot trailer, as you see we put together here, 20-foot trailer has 8-foot sidewall, and the majority of your car haulers will be at a minimum of 8 feet off the ground. That's 160 square feet on one side. So 30-mile-an-hour wind makes 2.3 pounds of square foot force. So that gives us, as you see in the equation here, 368 foot-pounds of force. For a 30-foot trailer, it's 552. And note that the weight of the trailer is not a factor in any of this. And your typical pickup truck that's 18 feet long and 6 feet tall, or give or take, has 108 square feet of surface area. And again, so that's 248 foot-pounds of force. So the big difference is the unequal force on both vehicles, or both items, or both vehicles, you want to say. That's the root of the cause of our sway. Because no matter what you do, you have those two unequal acting forces on both vehicles. So the trailer, when the trailer is swaying, the trailer is actually going faster than the tow vehicle. And it's simple math and physics. When it starts to go back and forth, and you can think about this, if you going back and forth down the straightaway on the racetrack, you're actually straightaway. If those two vehicles are doing that, then the trailer is traveling farther, which means it's traveling faster at the same rate of time. So that's the biggest contributor to sway, is the fact that these two forces are unequal. Now, rather than continue to bore you with math and physics and amplitude and all that, we'll charge forward here to the next slide. So what most of us use is a sway control device. And the other thing we'll have is our trailer brake control device. And our typical trailer brake control device is either a separate one or integrated one. Brad's got a couple pictures of those. And those are essential to safe pulling also. Now, the DOT in today's world, the Department of Transportation, all double axle trailers are required to have brakes on both axles. And we'll get into the types of brakes in another class, but you'll have brakes on both axles on tandem axle trailers. And those are your typical control devices. This is kind of a recap for most of us. We're very familiar with this. So charging on forward, Brad. Then a little bit of math on proper tongue weight and loaded. Proper tongue weight is 10 to 15% of the total trailer weight. So if you have 2,500 pound car and or a 2,500 pound trailer, a 3,000 pound car, or a 4,000 pound car, you should have 10 to 15% of that. So you should have somewhere between 650 and 975 of tongue weight. Too little tongue weight can create a problem, as you saw in the videos, and too much tongue weight problem. And that problem is the front end of the tow vehicle is too light, so you have lost steering input. So you'll understeer just like your race car. You'll drive yourself right off of a curve, or you'll go straight instead of turning. So there's a few rules of thumb that we can use to measure that. Not everybody has a scale or a way of measuring tongue weight or want to go through that painstaking process. So the general rule of thumb is measure from the ground to a specific point on the back of your truck or tow vehicle. I always tell people to measure to the bottom or top of where your hitch plugs into the back or your receiver. A lot of pickup trucks, that's 15, 18, 19 inches. Now this is with no load on the back of the truck. And then hook the trailer up without any of your weight or sway control and measure how much the back of the truck drops. If it drops 1 or 2 inches or 3/4 of an inch or a half an inch or 4 or 5 inches, that kind of will gauge you about how much weight you have in the back of your truck. So on half-ton pickups, generally between 4 and 900 pounds, and I know that's a little bit of a range, a standard half-ton pickup will drop anywhere from 1 to 2.5 inches. So if, let's say, as the average rule of thumb, it's a 2-inch drop, that's going to tell you you've got around 750 pounds tongue weight in the back of the truck. Obviously, you can get bags of salt or whatever, measure it out, and have your own calculated formula. Again, rules of thumb. There's no wrong answer for some of this. Some
Jim,
of the other
did you?
things that we want to be sure we check on is proper tire pressures and proper tires and proper tire pressures on the tow vehicle. If you have real soft, if you're using a light SUV of any make, model, or brand, and you've got more soft rear tires that are more for comfort driving, those sidewalls can be very soft. It gives you a perfect ride when you're not towing, but it can also contribute to a little handling characteristics when you're towing a vehicle because the back of the vehicle itself isn't stiff to the ground or the sidewalls will roll. Also making sure that the trailer wheels are properly inflated. Most of the problem people have with a lot of blowouts or flats on trailers is the fact that the tire pressures on the trailers are not set properly. And then anytime you're towing, you want to be absolutely sure that the trailer brakes are working and all the suspension is working and tracking correctly on the trailer. Now, all of this contributes to the control. So now we're going to get into a little bit more of what to do, I think. We'll come up with the next slide, Brad.
Yeah. So Jim, I wanted to kind of show some images and have you go through and kind of describe. We've got some different. We've got different hitch layouts on various different vehicles. So I think we have an Explorer, we have a Super Duty,
Sure.
we've got a
Yep.
Ram, and we've even got a GMC Sierra, I think. So
Yep.
I'm going to move forward a little
Yep.
bit here in the slides. And so this,
Okay.
I think.
Yep. Let me, I'll go through this with them real quick. So there's several types of weight and sway control. Now, what you're seeing here is what's called a friction device and how it's set up. Now, the friction device is designed to dampen it. So the sway back and forth is dampened with the friction or sway device. This is a very tried and true, used for years. This has been on the market for I can't imagine 20 plus years minimum. Works well. Is typically designed for a steel trailer. It does have to have its own attaching point to one of the tubes in the front of the trailer. And then you see the weight control is done with the springs and the chain. Again, this is a very, very tried and true system that's been around for a long time. This system there's a couple things that people don't realize about that system. and one of them is on the friction devices. It should be removed to be when you back up. And again, we'll get into more of that in the master class, but there's some more stuff about that. Now, what you see here is a recurve. Now, these have been on the market for a little while, but they are a new type of system that uses um, a sway control device that's built into the knuckle head of the hitch. These work very well also, and they're attached at the trailer to a specific point. Again, a very tried and true recurve. This is this is the top of the recurve system. As you see, there's no swinging, no hanging chain or anything, and that top point is a solid point, and then the sway is controlled in the head of that device. Again, very good system, one of many that are out there, and this is called a recurve. So we'll go to the next one. This is that one. That's a Reese. That's a 66550 Reese. That uses the material, the parts that attach to the trailer, clamp onto the frame. No holes are drilled to the frame, which is what we recommend on all aluminum trailers. Don't drill any holes in the frame. But this device uses like brake shoe material on the part hooked to the trailer, and then the friction and the sway control comes from the friction of the bar onto that surface, that brake shoe material surface on the that's attached to the trailer. Again, that's a Reese system, very good system. And we'll go to the next one. I think we've got, there we go. Okay, this is another Reese system, just a little different design. The bars come from underneath, but the friction or the sway control acts on the bottom of the coupler on the trailer itself. And this is another Reese system. This system, that's the 66560 with the brake shoe material. As you can see how there's different setups and how the height of those vary from different trailers. The idea is also to have the trailer as level as possible and the truck as level as possible so the load's the same. This particular one, this is the Equalizer brand one. Again, very, very popular, a very, very good one, a very tried and true, and been on the industry for years. This is an Equalizer brand. So as the pictures show, there's several different types, just like there is cars and everything else. There's several different manufacturers out there that have a form of integrated weight and sway control. That helps both with the weight distribution and also with the sway control. And then there's a little recap of some of the things that we talked about earlier on keeping all this stuff in control and making sure that you measure the drop of your trailer and keeping your trailer level with the tow vehicle from what we call a static point. And here's a quick demonstration of too much tongue weight, proper tongue weight, and too little tongue weight. Now you can actually use the weight and sway control to create a negative effect if you put that much tension on the bars. And again, that will create the back of the truck light. So setting all this up and making sure that the trailer is level and the tow vehicle is level is vastly important to keeping it in control and keeping the sway in control. Now, proper tongue weight, and as we discussed a little bit, too little tongue weight can lead to sway from side to side. Too much tongue weight can cut down, can put too much pressure on the rear wheels, causing them to wave, but also make a difference in the front steering and make it too light. So your tongue weight should be between 10 and 15% of total trailer. So this is where we say a 2,000 pound trailer with 2,000 pounds of cargo, 4,000 pounds, should have 400 to 600 pounds tongue weight. Always err a little on the heavy side. 12% is always a really good number for the majority of us. And it's not hard to get there when we start putting spare parts and toolboxes and things in the front of our trailers. Again, take a step back and just look at the trailer and see how it's leaning and see how things look level. Just use a level eye and a good sense of how things are looking. And you can tell from that as a general rule of thumb of where to go. And again, we get into a lot more of this stuff in a master class. But there's so much information that you want to take into consideration when you're doing and getting things set up, when you're doing your setups and getting ready to go to the track. And again, there's a little quick formula for that. And this is how you actually can calculate actual tongue weight. And you can use a bathroom scale. There's several different matters. You can also local scrap yards or wherever where they have full scales, and set the tongue on the scale and see if they'll do it for you. Some freight places that do freight service, they'll have a heavy enough scale that'll go over 1,000 pounds that will they can roll it out, and you can actually get that trailer tongue weight. There's also trailer tongue scale weights that you can purchase. Again, but for most of us, that's a little overkill. If you're doing it more professionally and you're pulling every weekend and you're pulling 10,000 miles a year, pulling a trailer, it's worth having that checked and to know where you're at with all that. And then if you don't have proper tongue weight, then obviously you want to adjust your car back and forth. And when we design trailers for you guys, and those of you that have purchased trailers from me, I always say, listen, we're going to leave 6 inches or so of leeway so that if you have to roll the car forward or backward, we've got some movement in there to balance the tongue weight and balance your trailer. So that weight distribution allows for you to go forward or backward with whatever you're towing in it as far as your car. And then bear in mind that I have a lot of customers that will also forward load the car and then put a lot of gear on the rear of the trailer to balance it out. So there's no hardened rule of thumb that says all of your toolboxes and all of your tires have to go in the front of the trailer. Sometimes you can actually roll the car forward and then put all that gear at the rear of the trailer. And all these things will help you hit your proper tongue weight. So most of us use for sway control is what we saw back on those pictures of the weight and sway control devices. Oh, you want to back up one slide? There we go. How do we control it? There it is. Most of us use the weight and sway control device. Be sure that they're properly set up, leveled, and follow the directions of whatever brand that you purchase, whether it's Reese, Equalizer, Kurt, no matter what, the Recurve, whatever brand you like, follow the directions that they give you to set it all up so it's working, so it's all set up properly. And then that's what they look like as the pictures we showed.
And Jim, so what about tires? I've got a little chart, which was the next thing in the slide. Do you want to talk about that for just a second, since tires kind of play a role a little bit in sway as well?
Absolutely. And I got to thank Brad for keeping me on target, because sometimes I get to waving off course a little bit. So I appreciate that, Brad. Trailer tires, one thing about trailer tires is trailer tires are not DOT rated. Trailer tires are for trailers. They have a little heavier sidewall. So I don't advise anybody to put passenger car tires on a trailer. Put trailer tires on your trailer because they are designed for the trailer. And as we talked about a little bit before, there's several different factors for sizes and ratings, as you can see from this. But you always want to be sure that you inflate the tires to within 10% of what the tire states on it, because the tire pressure that's stated on the tire will be for maximum load on the tire. Even if you feel you're underloading the trailer, and I'll use this for a quick example. If you have a 10,000 GVW trailer and the trailer weighs 2,500 pounds and you're putting just a 2,000 pound car in it and you're barely at 50% of that, You still want to inflate the tires to within 10% of what they say. You're not going to achieve a smoother ride on the trailer by lowering the pressure in the trailer tires to make it a softer ride for your cargo or for your car. What will happen is you could possibly overheat those tires because they're underinflated, and then you have chronic blowouts or flats. Most trailer tire blowouts come from either overinflated or underinflated trailer tires, or simply trailer tires that have exhausted their lifespan and they're dry rotted and cracked and they just fail from age. And trailer tires are subject to the UV of the sun more than anything because they sit outside a lot. So that UV will break them down also. So now tires on your tow vehicle, real quick, is again another important factor. I've had customers that have had soft sidewall tires on their tow vehicles to achieve a better ride when they're not towing, and that contributes to a lot of handling characteristics when they're pulling a trailer. Causes the back of the vehicle to wave back and forth. Again, proper tires is another contributing factor to how safe you can tow. So bear that in mind whenever you're having your setup and whenever you're buying new tires, trailer tires or truck tires. That if you're pulling a lot, get a good sidewall tire that's made for doing that. So I'm a little out of sorts now, Brad. You have to bring me back in line. We're back to what happens when we start swaying.
Last slide. So we went over most of it, but there was just a couple of general rule of thumb notes on what to do when you start to notice your trailer is swaying.
Got it. Okay, so you're pulling down the road, and again, what you have to realize is when the trailer starts to sway, what happens is the trailer is traveling faster than your tow vehicle. Two things you can do. You can slightly accelerate so that the tow vehicle and the trailer get back to matching speed, or you can manually work your electronic brake controller to slow the trailer down, which will also straighten it out immediately. Most people don't realize that you can do that. And that's why most electronic trailer brake controllers have a manual override, because if you manually override your rear brakes when you're in a sway, it will straighten the trailer right out. And the first time it happens and you do it, you'll be totally amazed how fast it straightens it out. Now, I don't advise you going to full 12 volts and locking them up. So slightly apply electronic brake pressure to the rear brakes of the trailer only manually, and that will also straighten the trailer out immediately. Remember, the trailer is going faster and farther than the truck. And if you're in you got to reduce your sway. I have a lot of customers call me and goes, "Oh my God, I can pull this trailer 85 mile an hour with everything in it." There's a point where you go, "Okay, well, I hope you can stop and you're staying in control going that fast pulling that rig." But we're all race car drivers, so we all want to get there in a hurry. I get it. But sometimes you got to slow down just to be a little more safe. When you're in a condition where it starts to sway a lot, the biggest thing is to stay calm. Like I said, apply some manual brakes with your electronic brake controller. Lift a little off the gas. Again, you have to match speeds. The biggest difference is the trailer is going faster than the tow vehicle. So you have to get those back in sync and they'll straighten out. Side wind and side forces, what they call bow wind from oncoming traffic, that all is contributed to having a good sway control device. It may wave a little and then come right back in control as the device works. So as you can see, this subject is for the master class, and I recommend that everybody take it. We get much more in depth, and I get much more in detail on what to do and how to set it up and how to measure and how to install your weight and sway control device properly, making sure that everything is level, loading your car and strapping it down and making sure your tongue wake's proper. So I can see, Brad, that I've rambled on quite a bit, so I apologize. So make sure we have time for questions. So
Yeah, and so we do have a couple of questions, but I wanted to thank you for that, because this is really valuable information, particularly for people that are fairly new to towing, because a lot of folks are. I don't, I drove a big truck with a trailer for several years, and I did it fairly regularly. And in the last 10 years, I haven't driven a truck with a trailer on the back of it at all. So practice makes perfect, but you always need to be cognizant of trailer sway. And when you're running a tag trailer, it's different than running a gooseneck or a fifth wheel type of trailer. And so one is obviously a little easier than the other. And I drove, a big, 30, I don't know, gosh, it was almost 40-foot trailer, and it was a gooseneck, or, a fifth wheel type of hitch. And, those are fairly easy to drive. But when I was driving a tag trailer, I'll admit that I was not very good at it, because I didn't do it. And there was a major difference. And so we've got some good questions from viewers today. And the first one is Bob Jones, who's a Speed Therapy Academy alumni member. And so he's seen more than one of your master classes probably. But his question is there any maintenance required on those sway control devices to maintain their friction or performance?
yes, on if he's talking about the separate friction control device, those pieces have a material. I don't think it's asbestos anymore, but they do have a friction material that over time will wear out and then will have to be replaced. You always want to use some good anti-seize in different places, so that when the devices are or lithium grease or something on the ball and on those devices, but actually on the sway control devices themselves, they actually have a material in there, like a brake shoe material or an asbestos material, that will wear out over time. So over time, you'll have to keep tightening and tightening and tightening it up, and then they'll be to a point where, just like brake shoes or brake pads, they will be worn, and you'll have to replace the device itself, or whatever brand you have. If they have those available, you'll replace those. I hope that
Okay.
answers. So
Yeah, no, I think that was really good. And so our next question is from Joe Johnson, who's another Speed Therapy Academy alumni member. And so his question is, isn't using a gooseneck trailer the very best option? I have had problems with trailer tires blowing out. Most tire dealers will not put light truck tires on trailers. So it's like three different comments, sort of questions.
sure, yeah. To answer Joe's question, yes, goosenecks pull completely different, and all of the gooseneck customers will attest to the fact that pulling a gooseneck, completely different. The attaching point to the tow vehicle, different location. That's a whole different animal than a bumper pull. The majority of us are bumper pullers, so that's what we kind of tend to lean to giving information to the people that pull bumpers, that are bumper pullers. But yes, a gooseneck, by far, if you have the capability for a gooseneck and have gooseneck trailer, that's the very best solution, hands down. That's correct. And if you've had tires or problem with trailer tires blowing out, be sure to make sure that the tire, again, getting your total trailer, loaded trailer weight, making sure that the tires have matching capacities for that. There is a lot of trailer tires on the market now, and we use the term in the industry called steel carcass trailer tires, and instead of like radial tires that have steel belts or nylon belted, these are steel carcass. In other words, the entire carcass or the entire surrounding of it is a steel carcass tire. heavy duty, go 10, 12, 14, go to a higher ply tire or a bigger tire. But it's matching the tire to the weight and making sure that the tire is properly inflated. Another thing that can contribute sometimes to the tire failure is if the axles of the trailer have never been rechecked, and over time and hitting bumps and bouncing off curbs, you can actually jar the axles off a little, so you're going to be tracking. So sometimes you'll wear on the inside and outside. It's just like having your toe in and out on your car. You'll wear on the inside or outside. So that can create the tires to overheat a little bit too. So I hope that answered Joe's question.
On the subject of tires, then Bob had another really good question. I'll post it here. Is there any markings is there any marking on a tow vehicle tire that indicates its sidewall stiffness or perhaps a load class for the tire?
Yeah, most all tires, DOT rated tires, and almost all tires now, will have an actual weight capacity. So if you see on the tire, it will say maximum load at a maximum tire pressure at maximum load. So that is on the tire itself. The DOT is now requiring that on tires. So it will say maximum load. Now that's per one tire, just that tire. So it may say maximum load 4750 on this tire at 50 psi, or that whatever specific number that is. But that is designated on the actual tire itself. This diagram here, unfortunately, we don't have that load rating on this. This talks about the sizes and the sidewall and what it is. But if you'd like that information, I can always forward it to you and show you, give you pictures and examples. It's not a problem. It is out there, and the tires will have it. I usually got to get down there and look for it, but it's imprinted on the side.
Hey, Jim, I have a quick question for you. Can you hear me?
Jim, can you hear us?
Jim, did we lose you?
Can you hear us now, Jim? We've got no audio for Jim. Okay, Jim was having a little bandwidth issue earlier, and so it looks like he's having some problems in the studio.
Okay.
There
So
we
Jim,
go.
we realize that. We're probably going to have to move on because unless his audio comes back. And Jim, we thoroughly enjoyed Jim today. If you put in the comments, he'll be able to see that you appreciated him coming on and sharing his knowledge. He said, I could hear Brad Grissom and Rich Cottrell. Yeah, okay, Tim, that's good information. And it looks like Tim Allen has another question. Brad, I don't know if we want to go through and just ask that question, even though he's not there.
This is a pretty long one. Carrie, can you read that?
Yeah, sure. Ford has a pretty great VIN-based load/tow simulator generator. It's pretty great. Helps to show how much load your truck is rated for with different payload, passenger load, tire temps, and weight rating. That's a tongue twister. Let me see if I can find the link they sent me. Have you seen it? It's pretty cool. Also, most problems.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So most probably think their truck is rated to tow a lot more than it actually is. Good information.
Yeah. And so that is a really good point. People think they can load these things up, and you just can't do it. Regardless of the rating on the vehicle itself. So the manufacturers do have a good, a lot of information about that, and so some people don't know. And so there is a VIN lookup or a VIN-based simulation generator. I wish we could hear Jim. I wish we could hear Jim because he probably knows a little bit more about that. But I think the issue might be on his end because in the studio, he looks pretty good. His audio looks clear. I've double checked all of the settings, so I'm not sure. Maybe he's accidentally hit the mute button
I
on
don't
his
see that. Yeah,
computer.
I don't see that the mute button's on.
Yeah.
So one thing we could do if you have other questions, we could, you could call him, Brad, and put him on speaker if you wanted to try that. So we're gonna try something with you. It looks like Tim Allen put that link up, and he'll be able to answer that in just a minute. We're gonna put Jim on speakerphone, see if you guys can hear him that way. And if you have any other questions for Jim, please put them in the chat, and he will be able to answer those questions via telephone. So
Yeah, no, I don't think, unfortunately, it doesn't work on the phone because we're getting some echo issues.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to call Jim then. And oops, that's not what I wanted to do. So we're going to remove Jim. So anyway, sorry about that. But that was great information. If you put in the comments, Jim will see the comments thanking him for his time for that mini masterclass. Tim, let's see. Bob Jones also said it was terrific information, and he'd like to see the full masterclass on that. So that is coming up. We'll be talking about that in another couple of weeks as far as how you can attend those masterclasses. And it looks like Paul Drake has another link, and Tim Allen said it was probably, okay, he's just scrolling.
They are posting up the links to the Ford trucks towing guide. So Greg Drake posted that, and Tim Allen, I think he posted it as well, but it was in image form. It looks like I can't actually see it here in the studio, but and Jorge says that was awesome information. So I'm going to try just to add Jim back to the stream real quick and see. His audio is not working, I guess, still.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Anyway.
Well, I think we're going to end the show. I did want to read a quote from Kenny, and this kind of tells you about his whole philosophy on his products and his customer service. It says, "My life's mission and purpose is to help more people like yourself enjoy their car lifestyles by sharing the culmination of my lifetime experiences in professional racing and the high-performance car building arena, helping you maximize your driving experience." And that is so Kenny. So I wanted to end with that. And we are playing a replay next weekend is Easter Sunday. So on Saturday, we will be playing an encore presentation that Kenny will be talking about. And we will be back live the following weekend, following Saturday. So Brad, do you have anything else to share?
No, I don't. Just wanted to thank Jim for being a part of the program this week. We do have some special guests that will be coming up after the Easter holiday weekend. I apologize that we don't have any good April Fool's jokes today, but I couldn't find any good ones. There were a couple of floating around about 2024 Fox Body Mustangs, but the information surrounding that hoax wasn't very good either. So it was a hoax of a hoax. But so I look forward to seeing everyone. I hope everyone has a good Easter weekend next weekend. And Carrie, I don't know if you have anything else, but who won the? Oh, I guess Joe Johnson was the winner.
Won, yeah. So yeah, Kenny's childhood racing hero, Jim Clark. Okay, well, I'll see you later. Enjoy your Easter, and we will see you the week after. Take care.